Hi guys, welcome back to my channel, and today I'm going to be doing a complete foundation collection video, and I have quite a few foundations here to walk you through, and I kind of like the idea of this video because then you can get an idea of what I use each different foundation for and my favorite foundations for all different skin types. So if you're interested to see my foundation collection, then please keep watching. Okay, so I just counted and I actually have an unlucky 13 number of foundations here, so I'm just going to get started with my top 4 favorite ones. And the first one in the stack here is the Estee Lauder Double Wear Light. And I have this in the shade 0.5, and this foundation is amazing. I actually haven't tried the traditional Estee Lauder Double Wear, which I know is just like blasphemy, but I really like this one because I think this gives a really good medium, but you can also build it up to a full coverage look, and it's not like too thick and cakey. You can really get a good coverage out of this. It stays all day. It's really great if you have oily skin, but it's not like too thick and too much where it's like just clogging your skin and being too aggressive. So I really love this. This is one of my favorite for everyday wears, but I also really trust it to kind of last all day long. So I would wear this if I had like a long day ahead. Second is my Smashbox Studio Skin 15-Hour Hydrating Foundation, and this is in the shade 1.1. And this foundation I really love because it's a really nice color match for me, and I actually don't find that it's really hydrating. I think this is just a really nice like long wearing foundation, and again, really nice if you have oily skin. I think this is a good option for something that's gonna stay put but not be too drying and make your skin flaky, because some foundations that are for oily skin kind of like they put something ridiculous like salicylic acid or something in it that's just too drying, and then it kind of defeats the purpose. So this is a really nice, I think, happy medium, and again, this is a nice medium, but you could also build it up to full coverage with this foundation. Third is one I've been using a lot lately, and this is the Tarte Rainforest of the Sea foundation, and this one is the one with a very like bright sparkly dropper on it, and this is a water foundation that you have to shake. I have mine in the shade Fair Light Neutral, and because it's a water foundation and it has this dropper, it is kind of messy and finicky to use, but I do really like this because it has SPF 15 in it. I really love foundations that have SPF built in just for some added coverage throughout the day. And I really like this formula because it's nice and hydrating, but I don't find that it's too greasy on my oily skin. But some days if I am particularly oily, this just isn't the one that I'll reach for because I know it'll just be a little too much. But if you are someone that has oily skin and then in the winter you get a little drier, this is something that I really liked using throughout the winter months when I was a little drier. So it's a good option for that. And I think this would also be really beautiful if you did have dry skin because it's nice and hydrating, and the light water texture you would think gives you light coverage, but I would again say this is a nice medium coverage. Okay, and then to round out my top 4 favorites, probably my favorite out of all 4 here is this Giorgio Armani Power Fabric Foundation, and I have mine in the shade 2. And let me tell you, Giorgio Armani shade 2 is my perfect foundation color match. I've used this in the Luminous Silk and now the Power Fabric, and this is just the absolutely perfect shade for me. It's like the perfect undertone. I don't know what it is. It's just perfect for me. So that's the number one reason why I like this, just because the shade is absolutely like spot on for me. But again, this is another foundation that has SPF in it. This one actually has SPF 25, and this is supposed to be a long wear, high coverage foundation. And you can definitely build this up to a high coverage, and the sunscreen isn't too much so that you get like a flashback. I've worn this to special events and it's been perfect. I really like this because it's super long lasting, and again, it's kind of like my special event makeup, or if I know I'm gonna have a long day or I'm gonna be somewhere where there's gonna be lots of photos. This one and the Studio Skin are the ones that I really reach for if I know my photo is gonna be taken. But this one, there's just something about it. It's just a little better color match. The coverage is a little better. It lasts a little better on oily skin, and it's just absolutely wonderful. So if you're looking for a high-end holy grail foundation for oily skin, definitely get a sample of this. Okay, next up I have 2 drugstore foundations, and that's it in my collection. And to be honest, I don't really reach for these that often because I kind of have higher end favorites that I reach for a little bit more. But my number 1 holy grail drugstore foundation is the L'Oreal True Match. I've been wearing this for over 10 years, probably since like high school sometime, so a super long time ago. And the shade N1, again, is like a perfect color match for me. And this has SPF 17 in it, which I also love, and it's just super, like it says, it's super blendable. I use this with a damp beauty blender for sure, and you can build this up to super, super full coverage. And you can just keep like applying more and more layers and it won't look disgusting. It just is perfect. This is a totally holy grail foundation. So if you're gonna get one from the drugstore, I would definitely get the L'Oreal True Match. And then a newer discovery from the drugstore that I've only really honestly worn a couple times, but I really like, is this Wet n Wild Photo Focus foundation. And I have mine in the shade Soft Ivory. And this is a nice color match, and it's kind of interesting packaging because this one has the weird like spatula thing on it that you have to like scoop the foundation out with. So I'm not necessarily a fan of that. And the other thing is this smells really weird. Like it has a super strong like alcohol-y scent or something. It's just really kind of nasty. But what I do like about this is Wet n Wild is a cruelty-free drugstore brand, which is kind of hard to find. But this does also look really nice in photos. So if you can kind of get past the weird smell and weird application, this is a really nice option, and it's a little cheaper, I think, than the L'Oreal. And then for a couple like slightly healthier options, I have the Osmosis Color Performance Satin Wear Foundation, which I've done a whole video on, and I'll link that as well because I know people are super interested in this foundation and if it's worth it. I don't have a good color match for me, but this formula is really nice. You can definitely build to a full coverage. But for me, it's a little bit, I would say, too hydrating for my oily skin. I think some of the other ones that I mentioned just work a little bit better with my skin type. But that being said, it does look nice all day long. This is one of those foundations where even though I might look greasy throughout the day, I don't look really too like disgusting at the end of the day necessarily. So this one does wear pretty nicely, and I'll just link my total video on this so you can get my full opinion. And then to go even healthier, I have the 100% Pure Superfruits Healthy Foundation. And this I really, really love. This is an amazing option if you're looking for something that's 100% pure, totally natural, totally healthy for you. This is 100% natural, 100% vegan, totally cruelty-free, all that good stuff. It just basically has like fruit and sunscreen ingredients in it, and that's it. And I really like this foundation a lot. As you can see though, I kind of went through it really fast, so I stopped using it because I got nervous because there just didn't seem to be that much product in here, although it is just a standard 1 fluid ounce, which is the same size as all of these. But for some reason, it just felt like I was using a lot of it to kind of like achieve the coverage that I wanted. So if you like super high coverage, this one it'll take you like several pumps to get there, but it does get you there, and it's really nice, nourishing on the skin, and it's never broken me out. Every time after I take this off, my skin is just kind of happy because it's nice and natural. And then the last two liquid foundations that are kind of at the back of my drawer, honestly, that I don't wear that much. The first one is the Lancome Teint Idole Ultra 24-Hour Makeup, and this is beautiful. I actually love this foundation formula. This is my #1 recommended foundation if you have combination skin. So if you have like dry flakes somewhere on your face and then really oily patches, definitely use this foundation. I don't know what's in it that makes it magically go over all of that different texture and greasiness and everything, but this is absolutely beautiful in combination skin. It has SPF 15, which I really like, and the coverage is really nice. You can get kind of a very full coverage out of this, and it does last very, very nicely throughout the day. It sets well with powder and kind of will stay locked in place. My problem is I just can't find a good color match in it. The one I have right now is 110 Ivory C, which is just, I don't know what I was thinking buying anything with a C at the end of it. It's just too cool toned and pinky and just doesn't quite match, but the next colors like on the spectrum that are like a little bit more warmer or neutral are just too dark for me. So unfortunately I just don't have a good color match, but this formula is absolutely incredible. And then the last liquid foundation is my IT Cosmetics Your Skin But Better CC Cream, and this has SPF 50. This is like a cult favorite. I have mine in the shade Fair. People rave about this all the time. And to be honest, I go through like cycles with this where I really love it, I really hate it, I can't stand it, I want to wear it every day. I think just because sometimes I see people wearing it and I'm like, yes, that's what I want my skin to look like, I'm gonna use it. And this is actually my second one. I repurchased this, which is very odd for me because it's just a little too greasy. If you have oily skin, I wouldn't recommend this, but I see a lot of people with oily skin recommending this, so I'm just kind of confused about it. But again, this is another one like the 100% Pure that sits really nicely on the skin, doesn't irritate it. It has a nice hydrating serum in it, tons of SPF, so you just like feel good about putting it on your skin. But for me, the color is also slightly off. I wore this and then took a photo in it, and my face had like a weird kind of greeny tint to it, so just the undertones of this are just a little off for my particular skin tone, but it is a really nice option, especially if you have dry or more mature skin. I think this would be like totally beautiful. And then I'm not sure if this really counts, but I do have the Laneige BB cushion, and I bought this at Target, and mine is a little bit older. The cushion's kind of seen better days, but this is one of the classic cushion foundations. I have mine in the shade Fair, and this again also has SPF in it, SPF 50 actually. And this is really nice on days where I'm not gonna powder my face, I'm not really wanting any coverage, but I just have some maybe kind of redness or something I want to cover, so I can quickly dab this on. And it is really hydrating, so it will be greasy right away on me. But this is just, it's an interesting product. It's something that I reach for only when I want to kind of dab on a little bit of coverage, and I kind of expect it to come off, you know? But I'm in a certain mood where I want that sometimes. And then finally, I have two powder foundations. I have the BareMinerals Original, and then this is new to my collection. It's the BarePro Powder Foundation. And the original, you just can't go wrong. This is classic. This is probably one of the most beautiful setting powders out there. I tend to not use this on its own. I use this to set makeup. Particularly if I'm going to be out in the sun all day long, like I'm going to the beach or I'm going to a theme park or I'm going to a sporting event, something where you know you're going to be sitting in the sun all day long. I'll use something like my Power Fabric, which has SPF 25. Of course, I have a regular SPF underneath as well. And then I set with this, which has SPF 15. And I find that the combination of all that really helps protect my skin, and I never really get a sunburn on my face. And then the BarePro is actually what I'm wearing today. I'll link my previous video where I showed my total powder foundation routine using this. And this is just really quick because it is a pressed powder. It's just super easy to kind of apply this on the go and get a nice coverage out of it when you don't have time to kind of do the whole liquid foundation thing. Okay, so that was tons of talking, but I hope you guys enjoyed seeing my entire foundation collection. At the moment, I have tons. I have a few that I know I could get rid of, but I just can't part with them because, you know, sometimes you're in the mood for different foundations and sometimes you're in the mood for just your old standbys. So I kind of keep all of these in my drawer. I recently did a clear out, so this is kind of my whittled down collection of all of my favorites, and I hope you got some good recommendations for ones to try. As always, all the products that I mentioned will be listed in the description box down below, and please subscribe if you haven't already so that you don't miss my next video. I upload 2 days a week on Monday and Thursday, and thank you so much for watching.